Hello! We're back again. Except we're not at the fucking middle of the night. Mononoke has chosen to be in like some of the worst places. She's like right at my feet. So you'll see me kind of tap dance a little bit around, trying to get around her for a bit. Wistful's back as the guy in the chair. Wistful checking his hand levels and all that shit. Yeah, perfect. So anyways, yes, we are back with another tier list award show, whatever the fuck you want to call it, but this time it's for anime, for all you weebs out there. This one's special for you guys. So, over the course of the year, I watched 27 fucking anime, which is way above what I usually watch. I think I watch like 3 or 4 a year, but I ended up watching quite a bit more just because I wanted to catch up on like more classic ones. But, so I ended up watching about 27 of them, and a lot of them were the classics, quote-unquote. But, I mean, they count. Similar to last night, we do have another prize pool going for 2 prize pools. The first was, I asked you guys to submit what you think is in the top 5 anime this year. What we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and say that, unfortunately, no one was able to get it correct 100%. Some of you were damn close. And some of you had some interesting picks of what you think I would put in my top 5, but hey, it's what it is. So unfortunately, no one gets the secondary prize. Like I said, it's supposed to be a little bit of a harder prize to nail, so that's just the way it goes. But we still have the main prize tonight, which is we have 10 trivia questions, which means about a question every 2 entries into the tier list. The main prize, if you win, is a 1-year subscription to Crunchyroll. That's a $70 value. We'll get you that, and you can be a bigger fucking weeb. I don't know, man. I think there's really no, like, strange, like, weird things. If you already have a Crunchyroll subscription and you want something different, let me know and we'll work something out. Otherwise, we'll just keep going with what we're gonna do. Anyways, Wist, I think we're ready to go ahead and get out that first trivia question for our weebs and gamers in the chat. Alright, Mononoke is going behind the green screen, so this may fuck up a little bit, chat. Alright, number 1, the first trivia question is, what is my favorite Studio Ghibli movie? We can't really talk about anime without talking about Studio Ghibli now, can we? Option A is Princess Mononoke. Option B is Spirited Away. Option C is Kiki's Delivery Service. And option D is Howl's Movie. I love all 4 of these very dearly, but one of them I think just stands out more to me than ever. And I think this is almost a get me question for the most part. Like, you guys can probably figure that one out really easily. But anyways, 27 anime. We have 17 we'll do before we get in the bottom 5 and the top 5. This way, the way I have it kind of structured this time is that with video games, I don't really need to give you guys a description outside of what I remember it being by. But in this one, you can see that I actually can't. The paper's fucking radiant again. I have kind of a synopsis of it, as well as which studio is behind it, because I genuinely do believe that certain studios just are better at the game than others, and that I've come to know some studios as being kind of bad at what they do. So we'll just go ahead and hop into the first one, which is Odd Taxi. Wistful, I believe, second row, fourth column? The one with quadrants next to Apothecary. Yeah, right there. Odd Taxi. So, I'll read you guys a bit of the synopsis. Eccentric and blunt, the walrus Hiroshi Otokawa lives a relatively normal life. He drives a taxi for a living, and there he meets several unique individuals. The jobless Tachi Kawasawa, who's dead set on going viral, the mysterious nurse Miho Shirikawa, and the struggling comedic duo, the Homo sapiens and Dobu, a well-known delinquent. But Otokawa's simple way of life is about to be turned upside down. The case of a missing girl the police have been tracking leads back to him, and now both the Yakuza and a duo of corrupt cops are on his tail. Quite funny, the pun they snuck in there. This is mainly done by OLM and Pix. OLM and Pix are mainly responsible for Komi Can't Communicate and Summertime Rendering. So, to me, Komi Can't Communicate is really good with its animation. So I went to Odd Taxi with a bit of higher hopes of the animation quality coming from it. I think the big thing that got me was the mystery element is there. Like, it is a really intriguing mystery throughout the entirety of the show. And the funny part is that the actual reveal of the mystery, the end of the mystery, isn't the biggest twist that the show has to offer. I won't spoil what the biggest twist is, but the characters are kind of a hit and miss in my opinion. The main character of Otokawa, I'm just going to call him Otokawa, is a really interesting... Hey! Mononoke immediately attacked my shoes and is now rubbing against me. Such a sweet baby. Such a fucking tsundere. He is a very cool character. I like his whole shindig and shit. But the other characters that we meet along the way, I find are more of a miss than they are a hit. It's really hard to get involved in their side stories and to kinda give a shit. So it's one of those things that this is this kind of anime where the side characters are one of the biggest selling points about it. Because Otokawa doesn't do a ton in the fucking anime. And thus you're kind of submitted to like a slower pace as we meet more characters, we develop more relationship with characters that are just kind of one-dimensional, and the mystery takes a while to get to the end of. I do think this is one of the few anime where I did not get the twist at the end. I couldn't even begin to fucking guess it. So I guess that's fucking good. Overall, I think if you're looking for kind of a good mystery, but you're okay with the characters not being fully developed, and maybe need a little more time in the oven, I think this is a good one for you. To me, it's fine. I give it a 6 out of 10. It's fine. The animation quality is good. No problems with that. But overall, I think the story is just not really there for me. Alright, next, we have Pokemon Concierge. Concierge? I'm not French. Right there, yeah. I don't even really know if this... To me, this doesn't technically count as an anime. But according to my anime list, which is a website, and then Sarah/Wist, it counts. So, it's an anime, I guess. It's made by Studio Dwarf. They're not really known for being in the anime space. In fact, the biggest thing I think they were known for was the Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir film, which I don't know if it was good or not. I have no idea what the reception was on that. So it's Pokemon, and the concept is after a series of misfortunes, a stressed out Haru quits her corporate job in favor of working as a concierge at the Pokemon Resort. Managed by the cheerful Watanabe, the Pokemon Resort is a place where both people and Pokemon come to unwind. It's another one of those kind of animes that is meant for the person who's stuck in a day job and wants to get away and kind of explore their passions more. Wiss is an anime expert, never question her. Oh god, no I won't. I really do like the art style. It is a mix of claymation with brighter atmospheres throughout the entirety of it, which is why I'm like, I'm not sure if it's technically an anime, but I guess because it has a Pokemon IP attached to it, that works for it. And the messages that it tries to convey throughout the entirety of the show are really endearing. And I think it's an interesting message to kind of display. I will say that I don't think that they needed the IP of Pokemon attached to this, though. I think the reason why Pokemon are involved is to otherwise know that it's not gonna fucking do well. Because it is kind of its own thing. And that the Pokemon are just kind of there tangentially at points. It's also a very short series. I think the episodes were like, what, 10 minutes a pop? Like 10 minutes or 8 minutes a pop, and it's very short, easy to get through in like one whole afternoon. And it's one of those things that you'll just keep watching more and more. It's a pretty cozy, pretty fucking, heartwarming anime show, and that you'll find yourself kind of getting through it pretty quickly and being like, okay, that was good. I like that episode. It's not one of those that's addicting, though. Like, you have to watch the next episode. You have to keep going, because there's no undertone of, like, overall plot, I'd say. There's no stakes. There's no risks, per se. So, overall, it's just vibing with Pokemon, I guess, with a claymation anime style. I will say that some of the voice acting is pretty dang good. A lot of it is which sucks, because I know that the Pokemon series tends to actually bring in amateur voice actors and give them a shot who very much do a really good job. It's a shame that it looks like the voice talent they had on this one just didn't hit the mark or the characters they're trying to be a part of. I think if you like Pokemon, you will enjoy this. I like Pokemon. I did enjoy this. I really like the claymation style. I'm a big fan of all kind of animation types, and claymation is one that I really respect the craft of, because I know how fucking hard it is. But I think overall as a show, I think as a Pokemon show, it's probably the strongest Pokemon show that exists, but that's not saying a lot. So I think it's good. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think that I would like more aspects of Pokemon to be involved rather than just tangentially being there, Alright, are we ready for the next trivia question? Alrighty, chat. Like I said, we have a lot less anime than we do video games, so you're going to get more trivia questions pretty quickly. So question 2, in the past, I have said that Jujutsu Kaisen is just blank for normies. Was it Kill la Kill, Demon Slayer, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or Naruto? That's not a dig at it either. It's just that it's the spectacle fights are the main thing you watch for Jujutsu Kaisen. You don't go for the fucking story. We do have season 2 on the tier list, so I won't reveal much of it until we get there. Honey. Guys, she's right. Hold up. Say hello. Yeah, you're being kind of a nuisance, bro. Oh god, no, Mononoke. Alright. Next up, we have entry number 3, Doink. Oh god, Doink? Doink. Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, Season 1 in particular, because apparently there's multiple seasons. I only did Season 1. Here's a synopsis, is that everyday Naoto Hachiuji, I'm butchering that shit, is teased relentlessly by Hayase Nagatoro, a first-year student that he meets one day in the library while working on his manga. After reading his story and seeing his awkward demeanor, she decides from that moment on to toy with him, even calling him senpai in lieu of using his real name. And it's a rom-com. It's a rom-com one. It's made by Telecom Animation Film, which is behind the animation of Tower of God Season 1, which is really weird, because Tower of God Season 1's animation style is wildly different than this one. Like, they really fucking locked in for Tower of God, but this one doesn't look super good. Once again, I took notes when I watched this shit, so some of these notes are just kind of trains of thought. And my first one, which I think is the strongest thing that I do not like about the show, is God, Nagatoro is such a fucking bully. Like, so I'm not a stranger to the idea of a tsundere where they're kind of an asshole at first, but they're lovable underneath. Nagatoro is straight up a fucking bully. It is super hard to fucking really give a shit about her. And apparently that's what divided a lot of people who watch the show, is just how big of a fucking bully she can be. And it's really hard to kind of root for her. But at the same time, the MC, main character, what is his fucking name? Naoto Hachiuji, is not great either. He's completely like spineless. He's always spineless, and that even when he is starting to grow a social circle, he's still like, oh, I just want to be left alone. I just want to be left alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I have no friends. I have no friends. It reminds me of the scene from Meet the Robinsons where like the antagonist is like, I was picked on and bullied at school, and everyone was just like okay with him. In fact, they were super cordial and friendly with him, and he's just that way. I think that the things that make this anime good, I miss a lot of the romantic aspects of it. Maybe it's because I'm a fucking older dude and I don't really get it. But all the romance aspects are really weak at best. I don't really want them to get together. I want Nagatoro to get her fucking comeuppance. I want her to get fucking like tased by a police officer for bullying some random dude, I guess. But the better moment is seeing how, I guess, the main character does grow. He's a genuinely nice person to other people, even if he is super nervous and just overall not a sociable person. But we see him kind of come out of his shell a little bit and be nice to others and help others along the way. And I do like the concept of Nagatoro herself, where she's kind of a big shit talker. She's always talking shit on the MC, calling him a nerd, calling him hopeless when it comes to romance. But she herself is fucking just the same, so it's a giant projection thing. I like the idea of that. I think it's just done super fucking poorly in this one. I know that a lot of people like to compare this one with like Komi, Can't Communicate, Dress Up Darling, and then I don't know the other one. I think it's like the big four, and compared to the two I have seen, Dress Up Darling and Komi, this one is just flat out in a lower tier, in my opinion. But I think that if you're willing to get past how fucking big of a bully Nagatoro is, you might find something good at the end of the rainbow, but to me, I don't think so. I give Don't Totally Miss Nagatoro Season 1 a 5 out of 10. I just couldn't get into it, and to me, if I can't get into it, I'm very much not going to keep going. Alright. Oh, fuck. We got some heavy hitters right off rip. So you might notice that we have Season 1 and Season 2, so some of these things you're seeing kind of duplicates in here. That is because I did watch, we are going to rank season by season, because some seasons just fucking suck, and some seasons are really goddamn good. This one is Code Geass Lelouch of the Rebellion Season 1. Whist, I gotta be real with you. I think that's Season 1. Where's Season 2? Is that... What's that on the far right? 1, 2 over. I think that's... Is that... Does it say anything? That looks right. Alright, fuck it. We'll do Season 1 first. Here's the synopsis. In the year 2010, fucking throwback, the Holy Empire of Britannia is establishing itself as a dominant military nation, starting with the conquest of Japan. Renamed to Area 11 after its swift defeat, Japan has seen significant resistance against these tyrants in an attempt to regain independence. Lelouch Lamperouge, a Britannia student, unfortunately finds himself caught in the crossfire between Britannia and the Area 11 rebel armed forces. He is able to escape, however, thanks to the timely appearance of a mysterious girl named Cece, who bestows upon him Geass, the power of kings. And then Lelouch embarks upon a perilous journey as the masked vigilante known as Zero, leading a merciless onslaught against Britannia in order to get revenge once and for all. This is made by, mostly produced by the studio Sunrise, which is responsible for fucking Cowboy Bebop. Huge, I know, right? And this is one of those ones I came back to and watched because it's considered one of the best of all time. It's considered a fucking classic. And after watching it, I can kind of understand why it's considered a giant classic. I also understand that everything kind of looks a little weird. The characters look weird and funny. Their limbs are really fucking long. Like, you think they'll be able to play basketball and dunk on you motherfuckers. Like, their torsos are the size of me, but their limbs are like Larry Bird sized. It's insane how fucking long some of these limbs are. And one thing I also didn't fucking expect getting into it is I didn't know it was a fucking mech anime until the mechs started showing up. Like, oh, the mechs are super important to the story. What the fuck? But yeah, it is a mech anime, but I think one of the biggest and most awesome parts about it is Lelouch himself as a character. He's an amazing character where he fucking solves shit via his brain and a lot of the use of the Gios, but mostly he's just fucking intelligent as shit. So he's able to come out of solutions using his big fucking meaty brain. And it reminds me a lot of L, or Light Yagami. I said L? Yeah, L counts too. Light Yagami from Death Note, to like the same degree, without him being nearly as sadistic as him. He does have some of those tendencies, but it's more like I'm hyper fixated on trying to get revenge on my dad because of my mom or something like that. I will say, as far as do I recommend this one to like new anime viewers? No. There are some really uncomfortable moments in here that are just fucking weird. And I imagine that if you were a first-time anime viewer and you watch that, you'd be like, ah, I'm good, Chief. I don't want to watch any more of this shit. All the character stories, however, are solid. Their interactions are solid. The voice acting is solid. Animation, considering how old the show is still pretty damn good. It is really impressive at points. And there is a twist at the mid/end of season 1, which is absolutely fucking gut-wrenching. And I actually talked to Wistful about it because I was so enthralled with it. It kept me on the edge of my seat almost throughout the entirety of season 1. I think Lelouch, Code Geass, Lelouch, Lelouch of the Rebellion is a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I think if you have seen stuff like Death Note, you've seen other things, and you just want more clever characters, you can't go wrong with Code Geass. Just be careful with some of the scenes in there, and don't read into it too much, chat. Alright. Next, we have Season 2 of Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion. I'm going to try to not really to give you guys a synopsis, because it is kind of a major spoiler in the synopsis. So thanks, Wikipedia and My Anime List, for not fucking curating that shit, you sons of bitches. Still the same studio, Sunrise, who is responsible in part for Cowboy Bebop. Season 2 takes it, the idea of the rebellion, and really gets cooking with it, adding more metaphysical elements to it. And then we get to see how things play out when a victory... So when Lelouch does claim a victory against nations, because he's just so fucking big brain, how that plays out for him in the long run. And I'm trying to think, there was a really good comparison someone had, but I don't remember what it was. So that was just a wasted line right there. The ending itself, I know, is somewhat controversial for a lot of people, of how can this all end, and I think a lot of people accurately predicted kind of how Lelouch was going to end, but I was really kind of surprised they went with the full bird of it, and I personally like the ending. I couldn't have seen it going any way other than the way it did. Shanks is at my door yelling at me. I think this is just more Code Geass, more expanded upon, which is always fun. Lelouch is great. All the characters are great. It just keeps delivering. I give this one a solid 9 out of 10 as well. If I had to guess between which of the two seasons I liked more, I think I'd say season 1, just because it's kind of self-contained and a lot of the references they do. Kind of the big part of season 1 is it's basically a chess match. In season 2, it's a very big chess match. What's up? Question 3. He is pawing at something under the door. It's so wild. Alright, chat. Time for trivia question 3. This one's a freebie for you guys. What was an anime that blew you away fairly recently? This means like something like you came in, you're like, I'll give it a shot. And you're like, what the fuck? It's so goddamn good. I'll tell you which one of mine was recent that blew me away, that I was not expecting to be nearly as good as it was. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. See what you nerds are up to. So everyone gets a free point on this. So at the very minimum, you will end the night with at least 1 point. What's up? What are we seeing? Blue-Eyed Samurai. That one's great. One Piece with Nami's arc, so Arlong Park. Vinland Saga. Mob Psycho's animation in particular. And Solo Leveling. All of these are really solid ones. Solo Leveling is like... Is it a Korean darling or is it a Chinese darling? Korean darling, yeah. Solo Leveling, I haven't gotten around to. Wistful read like three, what is it? It's not chapters of the manga, it's like 3 volumes of the manga, and she liked it a lot. Next, we have kind of a more classic and older one. Like I said, I did go back and watch quite a few classics. And this one is Charlotte. Here is the synopsis, is that if not for his ability to take over people's body, mind, and bodies, Yu Otosaka would be an ordinary high school student. That only lasts for 5 seconds at a time. His power allows him to cheat his way to the top of his class and enter a prestigious high school where he continues to be a dishonest piece of shit. His shenanigans are eventually stopped by Nao Tamori, a headstrong student council president from a different high school, who sees through his deceit through coercion, now convinces you to transfer to that high school and join the student council, which is secretly an institution created for adolescents who possess supernatural abilities, with the student council serving as a means of locating those who abuse their powers. So, this was made by PA Works, whose biggest title besides Charlotte was Angel Beats, which is an even older one. I have not seen Angel Beats. I've heard it's a classic in its own right. So the first 2/3 of the show are a great kind of like slice of life with romantic undertones and fun powers. And then they kind of remembered that they're trying to tell a bigger plot. And so they're like, okay, here's the fucking plot. And it does work in points. They hit you in the gut with a lot of emotional points with like you and now siblings relationships between them. It's not super weird. You can tell that I don't even think it is weird at all. It is definitely one of those things where they're trying to show that how much that this piece of shit main character, you, which is hilarious because it sounds like I'm saying you, chat, does care about some people. He is just misguided and kind of a piece of shit, but he's trying to get through it and he's trying to be better. I would say that the visuals, for as old as this anime is, are great. It is insane how some of the colors just blend together and work. And I think one of the things that stuck out to me, without kind of giving away a major plot point, which it's not, they fix it almost immediately, is that there is a certain point where a character is grieving over the loss of another character, and it is extremely realistic. Like, most of the time in anime or show, someone dies, like, oh, my best friend, I'll kill you, blah, blah, blah. And this one, it's like, no, this one is, like, very, very realistic. If anything, it's a little over the top of how fucking real it is. The character literally turns to drugs to cope at one point, which is kind of like, yeah, that's dark and kind of realistic for what it is. It went from, like, this fun, episodic show that told great stories with great characters, trying to have, like, these like episode to episode kind of adventures to a giant grandiose plot with deeper meaning while forcing more characters on us that kind of killed my entire investment in the show, unfortunately. So it's one of those things that as it goes on, the deeper story, they're like, no, it's been there the entire time. It's like, no, you definitely retconned this shit in. I don't feel like this was at all communicated at all in the first couple of episodes. And then there's an angle at the end where like a Russian mob comes in and they're trying to profit on these kids who have supernatural abilities. And it's like, did we just spin a wheel and find that we're going to blame the Russian mob on this one? I would say if they was just concentrated the first like 2/3 of the show, where it's a kind of a slice of life showing how this character is growing and becoming less of a piece of shit and forming meaningful connections with his family as well as the people around him, it would be easily an 8. But that last 1/3 is just fucking bad. Like, there's no getting around it. So that unfortunately kind of sullies the whole show. I think it's worth a watch. To me, there's going to be a very obvious point where you kind of can shut off the show and not give a shit anymore. And to me, I think just taking it the whole package, because I can't rate it without doing it. I give it a 6 out of 10. If it was just the first 2/3, it'd easily be an 8. It'd be one of the best shows, one of the better shows I watched this year. But unfortunately, the need to tell a grand plot kind of ruined it. Which is kind of a running theme with a lot of shit, I find, is that when they try to get more meta, it really hurts them. Are we ready for the next question already? Wild. Okay, chat. The next trivia question for you all. How are y'all doing? How are they doing so far? Have they gotten the first one easily? Probably. Alright. Question 4. Without counting any movies, what is my favorite anime series of all time? Is it A, Cowboy Bebop, B, Steins Gate, C, One Piece, or D, Neon Genesis Evangelion? That one's a toughie. No!
Button. What the heck?
You hit what? The back button?
I hit this on the mouse.
Oh no! All right, chat. Give us a second. Whist.
It was an accident. I didn't know it would do that. That's stupid. By the way.
You hit the back button.
On your mouse.
Yeah, what'd you think was gonna happen?
I didn't. My thumb was. I was just putting my hand towards the mouse, and my thumb went. I didn't mean to press it.
I know.
I was just holding the mouse, you know, as one does, and then all of a sudden there's a button going in. Nope, it gives them more time to answer.
Technical difficulties.
Surprised I haven't done that with it, honestly.
For a gymnast, you have very bad awareness of where your limbs go.
Yeah. There's actually a theory as to why that happens. Because you train in such a small scope of we train in such a small scope of degree of like focusing that we forget the rest of the parts around us. Because our eyes are like laser focused on just like what's in front of us and like maybe 10 degrees to the side.
So you're basically a horse with blinders on?
Mm-hmm.
Wild. Well, I'm gonna take the buttons off of the mouse.
Thank God. I don't want that shit.
I'm gonna go to this screen because I don't want them seeing my file tree.
I don't want to see your file tree.
No. And I will...
What is it?
Is that all the ones we've done so far? I think so. Hot taxi. Okay. We're back!
Oh, thank God you disabled the mouse button, because guess what my thumb just did?
I didn't disable it.
You didn't?
No.
Oh.
Whist, if you do it again.
Disable the buttons now.
It's disabled. Okay. We're back. Whist is trying to sabotage the show.
I was not.
Okay. Wait, so we're on number 7 now? We should be on number 7. We've done 6.
We did question 4.
Yeah, but I'm saying we've done 6 anime. We're on 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Alright, next up. This one's gonna be a fun one. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Oh boy. Do I really have to? I don't think I have to really introduce Jujutsu Kaisen, do I? I'm not going to. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, there's 2 kind of parts to it. There is the first part, which is Satoru Gojo's past, which is a very fun arc. And then is the Shinjuku Showdown arc, or I don't know what they call it. I think it's just a Shinjuku arc. This is made by Studio Mappa, one of the big kings of fucking anime. They've done Attack on Titan all of the fucking seasons. If you don't know who Mappa is, you do. I guarantee it. I think if you really like Jujutsu Kaisen story, it's more Jujutsu Kaisen, so this will tickle your pickle real nicely. I think that... So, Season 1 Jujutsu Kaisen, I thought was fine. It was good, but it was like, I don't get the hype behind it. And then I watched Season 2, it's like, oh, I get the hype behind it. Fuck the story. The animation and the fight sequences are fucking peak. They are so goddamn good. Every fight that you find in Shinjuku just fucking goes apeshit, and the music that accompanies the fights is fucking bumping. I use some of the fucking OST as my workout stuff, dude. It is so goddamn good. They clearly put a lot more effort into this season than they did Season 1. And what I think the thing holding it back, once again, is that the story outside of the first part of the arc is serviceable. And as someone who read the manga to the completion, I hope you're ready to just stay for the fights, because the story doesn't get better unless the anime is going to fucking redux it. I'm going to be real with you, chat. Just watch for the fights and just kind of turn your brain off. There's a reason why they call it Lobotomy Kaizen. I get it. I think if you like Jujutsu Kaisen, if you like action anime, or you're just getting kind of started with anime, Jujutsu Kaisen's not a bad one to go with. It's kind of very, very popular. Everyone that is out there kind of knows about Jujutsu Kaisen. It's fucking splattered on everything. And I think that if I had to rate the overall season, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Because when I watch anime, I really kind of want a story, you know? But the fights are so good, and the first part of the season 2, where it's Satoru Gojo's like past, is very compelling. Like, they can clearly tell a good story. I just don't know why they refuse to keep telling good story. Alright. Next, we have Delicious in Dungeon from Studio Trigger. Adventuring Knight Laos? I think it's Laos. They call him Laos, but it's weird. Leads a small party through a seemingly endless dungeon of subterranean maze full of dangerous monsters and precarious traps. However, when a powerful dragon eats Phelan, Laos' spellcasting sister, she sends her brother and his companions back to the beginning to save them from permanent ends. Though strapped for cash and equipment, Laos resolves to fight his way through the dungeon and rescue Phelan before she can be digested by the dragon. Due to the lack of funds, the party faces the daunting prospect of starving before being able to complete their quest. However, they find salvation in Shinshi, a dwarven warrior with her penchant for cooking and safely eating defeated monsters. And then it just kind of goes. So this was another big darling. This is another big darling of kind of this year, was Delicious in Dungeon. You saw it kind of pop up quite a bit, and a lot of people talked about it. And Studio Trigger is no stranger to me. I like a lot of what Studio Trigger does. I find that a lot of it's either I hate it or I really like it. And the concept seemed really fun. Not to mention that Shinshi is voiced by one of my favorite voice actors. I think it's Junwoo Song. ProZD. I'm just gonna call him ProZD. He does a fantastic job at everything he does, and he cooks on this for sure. It is definitely a more humorous anime for a good chunk of season 1, where it's trying to get laughs and it's putting the characters in silly situations. Each character kind of fits into their own role of the serious character that doesn't really want to eat the monsters, the ones that are like, I don't fucking care, I'm just so tired, bro. And then the two nerds who are just like, I want to eat all the monsters, bro. And it does work. It's really good. And some of the food they cook up looks good, and it's really inventive how they use some of the parts of the monsters. And don't get me wrong, they show that this is definitely a monster that they're eating, right? They like, some of them are kind of a little bit obscured, but most of it's like, no, that's a fucking monster, bro, that you're eating. And some of it's really cool, like a mimic. How do they eat a mimic? They eat a mimic! It's so fucking wild, and I know that there's at least some fucking dungeon masters, some D&D group out there that's taking notes furiously as they watch it, because it is a fun concept. And then you get to the latter end of the season, which it takes a super dark turn and gets more like fucked up. I remember the day that episode, if you've seen it, you know which episode I'm talking about, where that one dropped and everyone's like, oh, fuck. And they kind of don't drop that tone. They kind of layer in the humorous and the serious tones together. Some points it doesn't work, other points it does. I will say that they kind of beat around the bush of the major story for a little bit. They'll be kind of going throughout the dungeon, eating monsters, and then bomb, serious story note, and then, nah, fuck it, go back to the other one. And I found that the very kind of last end of the season didn't have as much appeal. It kind of kept going. And I feel like they could have shortened it quite a bit and spent more time in the oven with it, especially as they introduced a new character that I was not super invested in. I will say that the fight scenes are humorous and actually pretty well animated. Studio Trigger doesn't really miss when it comes to fight scenes. It's just more of their characters and overall story that they kind of tend to miss. I would happily say that this is definitely one of the ones I really did enjoy. I'm going to give Delicious in Dungeon an 8 out of 10. I think the things holding it back are just that as of season 1, it could use. I'm excited to see where it keeps going, but I think this is a solid introduction to Delicious in Dungeon. Are we ready for the next question? All right, chat. This one is a... Oh, wait, no. Hilarious. All right, chat. Out of these anime, Which of these have I said is perfect for newbies to anime? This is kind of a freebie. Is it A, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Is it B, Neon Genesis Evangelion? Is it C, Jujutsu Kaisen? Or D, Cowboy Bebop? I kind of already dropped the answer, didn't I?
You did?
I kind of did. Alright, how we all doing, chat? I don't think there's really any hot takes in this so far. I think a lot of people probably don't know half the anime I'm ranking, if I had to guess, based on the friend group we have. The idea is, I hope that this kind of, if any of the synopses sound interesting to you guys, that you're willing to check out these shows. Because with anime, I tend not to watch quote-unquote bad ones purposefully, or if it's not worth my time, I don't watch it, and if I watch like one episode, I won't rank it. Because I don't have an idea of the story at all with this kind of shit.
Watch anime.
Yeah, watch anime,
you guys.
you anime nerds. Alright. Next up, we have this year's darling pick. The one I didn't think was nearly going to be as good as it was, but holy fuck, it's good. Dan Da Dan. Holy shit, Dan Da Dan. I'll just fucking describe it because I think everyone's watching it, but I'll give it a shot. Reeling from her recent breakup, Momo Ayase, a popular high schooler, shows kindness to her socially awkward schoolmate, Ken Takakura, by standing up to his bullies. Ken misunderstood his intentions, believing he was made a new friend who shares his obsession with aliens and UFOs. However, Momo's own eccentric occult beliefs lie in the supernatural realm. She thinks aliens do not exist, but she believes that ghosts do. A rivalry quickly brews as each one becomes determined to prove the other wrong. Despite their initial clash over their opposing beliefs, Momo and Ken form an unexpected but intimate friendship, a bond forged in a series of supernatural battles and bizarre encounters with urban legends and paranormal entities. This one is produced by Science Saru, the guys who were behind the Devilman Crybaby Netflix series, which I really did adore. And fuck, did they show that, hey, we can do humor, but we can do fucking really sad and dark tones, guys. But let's start with the humor, because, you know, it's funny. I have a trope I love every time, and that is the 3 idiots and the 1 straight shooter. And I love that trope so goddamn much. Obviously, the numbers fluctuate. Sometimes you start with 2 idiots, and then you get 1 person in the group who's just a straight shooter who kind of corrals all the idiots in here. Dan Da Dan takes that and says, what happens if there's nobody who's a straight shooter and everyone's a fucking idiot? And they just keep adding more and more idiots to it. And it sounds annoying, but it's actually really fucking hilarious how they do it. And it works super goddamn well. The whole show is kind of a humorous take. I mean, one of the major plot points is looking for golden testicles that have a ton of spiritual energy. I can't make that shit up. What were they fucking smoking? But it works in the context of the show. And it's kind of hilarious to see how many idiots they stack on it. That being said, for you guys who really like a more somber tone, Episode 7. That's it. I'm not going to elaborate any further. Episode 7. I was so shocked. And I think I teared up quite a bit at that. The guys who made Devilman Crybaby being able to jerk your feelings around, who would have guessed? I think this one, I know a lot of people say this is the best of the year. For me, I need to see more where it's going before I say it's peak. Because some episodes, nothing really happens. Some episodes, plot happens. But overall, the experience between the beginning of the episode and the end of the episode is still super enjoyable. It's just one of those things like, are they going to keep going the party of idiots trope? Or are they going to try to tell a bigger story and get them more involved? How are they going to pull it off? Because in season 1, they don't really get into that too much. I think they have just now concluded season 1, and they've already said that season 2 is fully ready to come out around, I think, June or August of 2025, which is very good response from the audience, if I had to say. I thought you were talking about U.S. Congress for a second. What, for looking for golden testicles?
No, for the idiots.
No, that is the one trope I'm not going to get political, but that is one trope that doesn't apply here. But Dan Da Dan, I'm going to give a solid 9 out of 10. I'm sure season 2, if it keeps up the pace and just develops a little bit further, is a solid 10 out of 10 for me. But for now, Dan Da Dan, 9 out of 10. Also, the action just goes nuts to butts hard. They didn't need to go as hard as they did, but they fucking did. And it's still funny as shit. Also, what is the name of the intro? The guys who made the intro, who did Mashals?
I forgot.
I don't know, but they fucking cooked on the intro too. It's very rare I skip it just because of how fucking much it cooks. Alright, next we got another kind of classic one, Death Parade. This is like, you're going to see a lot of these ones which I'm going to dub as hot topic animes because, and I don't mean like sensational, I mean like the store, hot fucking topic. This was definitely a hot topic anime. After death, either heaven or hell awaits most humans, but for a select few, death brings them to the Quindecium. I'm going to call it that. I don't think that's what I don't think that's how it's pronounced at all. A bar where only pairs of people who die at the same time can enter. Attending the bar is an enigmatic figure known as Decim. Or Decum. It is Decum. Quindecum. Okay. Decum, who also acts as the arbiter. He passes judgment on those who wind up at the Quindecum by challenging them to a life-threatening game. These games determine if the patron's souls will be reincarnated into a new life or be sent into the void, never to be seen again. From darts and bowlings to fighting games, the true nature of each patron slowly comes to light as they wager their souls. Though his methods may remain unchanged, the sudden appearance of a black-haired amnesiac causes Decum to reevaluate his own rulings. This one was produced by Studio Madhouse, which produced such big hits like fucking One Punch Man, Season 1, and Hellsing Ultimate. So big hitters on this one, for sure. And I think the big thing it tells is the tone and as well as the individual character stories that you get each episode. That is absolutely its strongest point, is the episode by episode stories that you get with the new characters who come to the Quindecum. Some of them are fucking tragic. Some of them not so much, but they're all extremely well written. The one thing I think if I had to really kind of frown at is the fact that Decum and the main MC don't have a very strong story, in my opinion. It's kind of hinted at for the MC, but then it switches focus to Decum being kind of more of the MC, which is not what I really wanted. And I kind of even said, I have a feeling they're going to try to make Decum the main character because he's probably the fan favorite, if I had to guess. He is the Sheldon Cooper of this one, where he is just emotionally unavailable, very facts and logical kind of dealio, to almost an offensive degree. But it's one of those things, as he learns to be not a black and white arbiter, but to kind of be able to see the intentions behind it, to read feelings, it becomes a lot better of a character to kind of go through. The ending to me felt really rushed, like they were hinting at something bigger, or that there was going to be a season 2 or a sequel, but it just never came about. And as far as I understand, it was not meant to come about. So it's kinda unsatisfying how it ends. But to me, that wasn't the important part. The important part was the stories that we got in each episode. Some of them make you angry, some of them make you sad, some of them make you very happy. And I think that's where the show really excelled. And touching on the animation, is that the animation looks great. It's held up. It looks fantastic. There are some points it looks a little awkward, but the final episode has a very beautiful sequence, which I kind of went back and watched. I think I even showed Whis because it did such a good job. I know this one personally was on Whis, like she wanted to get into it. I think she should try it for sure. I think she would like it. I would say don't hope that a bigger plot or a more substantial plot than outside of the episode to episodes comes about. You're going to be disappointed. I'm going to give Death Parade a solid 7 out of 10. Oh my god. Monoka, get out of the box!
You said 7?
Yeah, 7 out of 10. It's absolutely the episode to episode storytelling that's good, but as they kind of slow it down to tell the bigger story, you're like, ah, fuck, go back to the other shit. What's up? You want me to take care of her?
Question.
Oh, is it time for a question?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Next trivia question for you guys, chat. Alright, this was a freebie for you guys. This is another freebie. What anime do you wish would get a sequel or a new season? So, I would say, if you're like, hey, I like Vinland Saga, I hope it gets a season 3. I got good news for you. It's probably getting a season 3. I'm looking for more like, hey, this one hasn't ever really been kind of announced. I really hope they come back to this project and work it a little bit more. For me, I think it would be, I would like the Cowboy Bebop universe to be a bit more explored. I think there's a lot more stories to tell in that universe, and they did a really good job. Stuff like that, or I'm trying to think of other stories they could definitely tell more. Honestly, I think if I had to say, it's definitely just going to be Cowboy Bebop's universe. I think I would always go for more Neon Genesis Evangelion stuff, but I know that I have a couple things I still need to watch from that universe. All right. Mononoke, what are you doing, girl?
We have a few answers already.
Oh, yeah, what we got? Samurai Champloo, that's a solid pick. Interesting enough, Samurai Champloo is considered like a brother series to Cowboy Bebop. So if you like Samurai Champloo, go check out Cowboy Bebop. They're very much the same vibes. Wistful, you said today's menu for the Emiya family or My Dress Up Darling. I really wish they would give a season 2 to My Dress Up Darling, and for as far as today's menu of the Emiya family, not happening, Chief. That's the Fate series. They move on so fucking fast.
But it was so comforting.
It's they didn't need to go as hard as they did with that one. All right, chat. We're moving on to entry number 11, which is going to be Pokemon Horizons. Yes, I watched 2 Pokemon series this year. God damn it. So, Pokemon Horizons is the sequel series to the original Pokemon show. I don't know how many of you actually know, but the original show with Ash and Pikachu actually concluded pretty damn recently with Ash winning a major championship and becoming one of like the greatest Pokemon masters of all time. And it was super cathartic to see it. However, Pokemon companies need to milk that money, so they made Pokemon Horizons.
He did indeed catch them all.
He did not catch them all. He did not.
The best.
He did become the best, but he did not catch them all.
That's sad.
But Pokemon Horizons takes place in the Paldea region, so the latest region, Scarlet and Violets, with 2 new pro tags, Liko and Roy, who are kind of adventuring around, but there is a more deeper plot with, let's see, I'm seeing if they... Yeah, they're targeted by the mysterious Explorers organization. That name sucks ass, but it is the name of the organization. And they get started with the plot right away, and it's way more in-depth than the original Pokemon series. You can tell that they're going to make 600 or 400 episodes of this, and 99% of it is not going to go anywhere. It is a kid's show, and thus it is going to be pushing marketing material for Pokemon more than it ever has. I will say, overall, it's a better story than the original Pokemon anime when the whole idea was buy Pokemon merch. I think that anime was fucking awful. But this one, it tells an interesting story. I wouldn't be shocked if there's more fans of this who are like actually involved in the major story than there aren't. But for me, it's just kind of one of those things like I think I watched like 15 or 20 episodes, which I know in the grand scheme of like a fucking Pokemon anime is nothing, but it was enough for me to be like, it's better than the original. But I don't think it's great. I don't think it's very good. I do like some of the darker tones they do bring about it. I think the characters are more fleshed out. They are definitely have more motivations than besides Ash just being annoying and not knowing his type charts. I think it's a really interesting twist on the Pokemon Company's thing. Pokemon, don't come kill me, please, Nintendo. I have a family. Overall, I'm going to give Pokemon Horizons a 5 out of 10. It's definitely better than the original series, but it is not much better. It's not that great. It's just not. Oh, I should mention that it was made by OLM, the same guys behind Komi Can't Communicate and Summertime Rendering. OLM, I think, has always made Pokemon shit. We got more answers. Shinzo? I don't know what that is. Vinland Saga, because my options are limited. Good news, Great Finn. I guarantee you there's a season 3 cooking with Vinland Saga. That shit's too fucking popular, brother. Alright.
Bless you.
Next, we got a spicy one for you, chat. Rent a Girlfriend, Season 1. What a sus title. Sarah, that is going to be... Yeah. Alright. God, I really don't want to read it. I'll read it. Kazuya Kinoshita is a 20-year-old college student who has a wonderful girlfriend, the bright and sunny Mami Nanami. But suddenly he doesn't. What a fucking peak. Without warning, Mommy breaks up with him, leaving him utterly heartbroken and lonely. Seeking to soothe his pain, he hires a rental girlfriend through an online app. His partner is Chizuru Mizuhara, who through her unparalleled beauty and cute demeanor manages to gain Kazuya's affections. This is produced by TMS Entertainment, who's responsible for Season 1 of Dr. Stone. I believe they're also responsible for Season 2 of Dr. Stone, which cooked. This show, the reason I got into this show is because I've heard people jokingly say it's peak. And then I've heard say, like, hey, past the jokes, it is a pretty cool concept and it's a fun plot. I was like, sure, whatever, I'll give it a shot. I think the best way I can describe it is it's a dumpster fire that is fun to watch. It is not good, right? It is fine for season 1. It is fine. It is a dumpster fire. I will say, though, I'm very happy that we finally have a romantic anime that is centered around college students and not fucking high schoolers. But most of the time, these characters are so fucking stupid. They just do the dumbest shit, and they make no goddamn sense. Part of the whole thing is how the main character and his rental girlfriend try to hide the relationship, but not really for their family, because their family adores the two of them being a couple, but they're not a real couple. And then as the show progresses, of how their feelings actually kind of develop for each other. But it's a hot mess of how they do it. Some points the animation is really fucking good. In some points, it's fucking god-awful. It is insane how bad it is at points. I will say, I watched dub, and the English voice actor for Kazuya is Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, which, honest to God, fits more than you can even understand of how pathetic this guy is. It is hilarious how fucking sad he is. I don't really think... I watched 2 seasons, and I don't think I'm gonna keep watching it, because it's, from what I understand, is that it never goes anywhere. Like, you're cheering for the antagonist throughout the entire series because she actually forces the plot to do shit. At points, it feels like it has potential to be one of the best kind of more mature romantic animes out there, but then it just squanders it on the dumbest shit and the most unlikable characters you'll ever fucking watch. So, if you're kind of in it to see, like, a fun dumpster fire, which is how I went into it, yeah, it's a dumpster fire. It's a fun one. It's not peak. I think the meme of it being peak is hilarious, so I'll say it is. But I still think I got more entertainment out of it than I did with Pokemon Horizons or Nagatoro. Where Nagatoro, I didn't make it too far into it because of how annoying it was. In Pokemon Horizons, I had no interest in keep watching it. So, I think I'm going to give Rent-a-Girlfriend Season 1 a 6 out of 10, tentatively, because it is a fun dumpster fire. It also has the funniest sus title I've seen. Whist. 6 out of 10. Yep.
Yeah, next question up.
Yep, alright. Another trivia question. Alright, number 7. Speaking of dumpster fires, which of these is the worst anime I have ever fucking seen? Is it A, A Whisker Away? B, 7 Deadly Sins, Season 3, Imperial Wrath of the Gods. What a fucking mouthful. Is it C, One Punch Man, Season 2? Or is it D, Yu-Gi-Oh? And I mean the mainline Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't mean Season 0, which is fucking kind of cool. I mean the mainline Yu-Gi-Oh! That was obviously made to push TCG.
Season 0 was my first foyer into anime.
Yeah. Alright, we're on entry number 13. Apparently a golden classic for a lot of people. Parasite the Maxim. That is located... it's first row, 5th column. Yeah, there you go. This one is made by Studio Madhouse, a fucking big name in the space. All of a sudden, they arrived. Parasitic aliens that descended upon Earth and quickly infiltrated humanity by burrowing into the brains of vulnerable targets. These insatiable beings acquire full control of their hosts and are able to morph into a variety of forms in order to feed on unsuspecting prey. 16-year-old high school student Shinichi Izumi falls victim to one of these parasites, but it fails to take over his brain, ending up giving his right hand instead. Unable to relocate, the parasite, now named Migi, has no choice but to rely on Shinichi in order to stay alive. Thus, the pair is forced into an uneasy coexistence and must defend themselves from hostile parasites that hope to eradicate this new threat to their species. So once again, this is one of those ones that a lot of people say is just really, really good. I went into it, I guess you could say, with expectations of it being very, very good. I walked away not saying it's not bad. I would say I was more disappointed that it's not as good as people hyped it up to be. Shocker, the internet tends to over-exaggerate on a lot of shit. I fucking over-exaggerate on shit. The things that I walked away knowing is that, hey, the animation at points is really good, and at some points it's very jerky. It's like, it looks fine, but it's very jerky. The fight scenes are really good. When they happen, you didn't think that the fights would cook as hard as they do. But they do. There's a good balance of just straight up brawn, but a lot of brain as they kind of formulate plans of how to take out a specific parasite that has this specific ability. And how to get around these like traps set by them. I think the overall story is a really cool concept for sure. I think where it suffers from is your characters. I think that they try to show how Shinichi kind of becomes less human as the show goes on. And they show it, but it's kind of not interesting because he wasn't an interesting character to begin with. Migi, his alien parasite, is a lot cooler in my opinion. But it just goes the way it is. The one thing I cannot fault for this is its soundtrack is a fucking banger. It is dubstep, so if you hate dubstep, you won't like this, but it's a dubstep orchestral blend, which doesn't sound like it would work, but it weirdly enough does for the fight scenes. It has some really good fight scenes. There's a lot of blood, guts, and gore. I wouldn't recommend this as a first anime to anybody, but it is a really cool concept that I ended up enjoying, minus the main character being a bitch. Overall, the story, the concept kept me going, and I did finish this one. It felt like they were trying to get more out of it, but they rushed it at the end. But I guess that's just how it is. I would give Parasite the Maxim a solid 7 out of 10. I think it is good. I understand why people like this. I don't understand how people think it is the best that the anime series, like the anime genre or whatever, has to offer. I just don't understand that kind of thing going for it. How are we doing, chat? How we doing? We cooking?
They cooking? What are they cooking?
Bacon.
Bacon. It's only been an hour.
Yeah, there's not as many video games as there were video games. Alright. Let's move into entry number 14. This is one of Sarah's darling picks, and it's not in the top 5. Sorry, Sarah. Mashal. Magic in Muscles, Season 2. So, Season 2s are always hard to kind of recap because of the fact that they're expecting you to know Season 1. So I'll just say, it's made by A1 Pictures, who did Seven Deadly Sins Season 1, which I think looked great, and then Kaguya-sama Love is War, which is apparently like the best romance anime that there is, and it looks great. This is a gag anime. It is a comedic anime with really intense fight scenes that go harder than it needs to. The idea is, imagine Saitama from One Punch Man went to Hogwarts, where he doesn't use magic and instead just beats the fuck out of everybody. If that doesn't sell you on it, I really don't know what else would. It is fucking hilarious. Downright hilarious at points how you think, oh my god, here's this magic foe who's going to beat the fuck out of him. And then you're like, oh yeah, wait, hold up. It's Mashal. He's just going to beat the shit out of him. The one thing that kind of surprised me with how they did it is how dumb Mashal is. He is really fucking stupid. And it works in this. I did end up reading the manga, and it was like, he's definitely overplayed as being stupid in the show, but it's fine. The soundtrack has a very limited amount of songs that are great. I still listen to one of them. The fight scenes in Season 1 are still, I think, better than the ones in Season 2. And you can tell that they're trying to get the main plot going, which honestly hinders a lot of the good parts of the comedic timing in Season 2. There's more funny moments, I think, in Season 1. I think overall Season 1 was just way better, in my opinion, than Season 2. But you need to do this tournament arc to get to more promising parts of the series. I think it's a really good sequel to Season 1, and it's a tournament arc, so some people love it. Personally, I'm okay with it. The animation is great. It swaps between really small, like, chibi aspects of it to, like, the gorgeous animation that it can do. I think if you haven't seen Season 1, try it. Season 2 is a good addition to it. I don't see anyone coming cold into Season 2, or even coming into Season 2 disappointed at all. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10 for me.
Question.
What's up?
Question.
Oh, is it time for another trivia question?
Yep.
Damn. We're blowing through these, chat. Alright, chat. Question number 8. Which of these have I not seen as of right now? Is it A, a silent voice That is a movie. I think it's by Tokyo Anime or Kyoto Animation. B. Cash Earned Sins. That is an old deep cut for you. C. Banana Fish, a beloved family mystery with a lot of sad tones. Or D. Kotaro Lives Alone, another sad but comedic one that I think Netflix owns the rights to. Which one of those have I not seen, chat? I'm gonna be real with you. All of those on there, I do enjoy or I do want to see. So it's not like I'm just naming a weird one off the top of my head. Alright, chat. Next we have the Quintessential Quintuplets, Season 1. I don't know why a lot of peak anime is just considered to be, is just all the romance animes. I don't get it. I'm not going to question it, chat. So, Season 1, Futaro Usugi is an ace high school student but leads an otherwise tough life. His standoffish personality and reclusive nature have left him friendless, and his father is debt-ridden, forcing his family to scrape by. One day, during his lunch break, Usugi argues with a female transfer student who has claimed his seat, leading both of them to dislike each other. That same day, he is presented with a golden opportunity to clear his family's debt. A private tutoring gig for a wealthy family's daughter with a wage of 5 times the market price. He accepts the proposal, but is horrified to discover that the client, Utsuki Nakano, is the girl he confronted earlier. After unsuccessfully trying to get on Itsuki's good side, Itsuki finds out, or Itsuki's, god damn, dude, these names are so similar, finds out that his problem doesn't end there. Itsuki is actually a quintuplet, so in addition to her, he must also tutor her suitors, Miku, Yotsuba, Nino, and Ichika, who despite their the very real threat of flunking, want nothing to do with a tutor. This is made by Tezuka Productions. Yeah, my cat's getting into a box again. Good on her. This is made by Tezuka Productions, who are, I think the biggest one I named outside of them is they're responsible for Dororo, which is a pretty solemn anime to go from this to Dororo. This was one of the big ones that had a lot of people back in the day debating on who's going to end up going to be the one that the MC ends up with. And each one of them has a very unique personality. They're kind of stereotypes, but they're the ones who kind of launched the stereotypes. So you're going to see a lot of tropes and shit, but you have to remember that this is kind of the anime that started a lot of these tropes. Each of these characters kind of does have their own story. They have their own motivation of why they do. I will say that a lot of them don't seem very interested in romance, which is really hard to get to the idea of like, oh, they're all vying for the one dude, but some of them just really give a shit about studying. They don't really care about the tutor. But the show is like, no, they're all vying for his romantic interest. And it's like, I don't think so. I don't think that's how it goes. At first, it's also worth mentioning at first, the main character has no interest in any of them romantically at all. He's just trying to get bank. He's just trying to get paid. What a Chad. What a fucking giga Chad. Overall, but he is also a shitty person. It's another one of those anime where he starts off as kind of a shitty person, and over the series we see him become a better person overall, which is a nice kind of twist that we get that with him kind of becoming more attached to the girls. And even if he doesn't end up romantic with them, he is like close with them. He does help them out significantly. I will say that each of the voice actors for all of the characters in this do an amazing job. I was blown away by how well of a job they did for it. The animation is good. Tezuka Productions did a great job. The animations look really good, especially for considering how old the piece is considered to be. I will say that the one thing that really hinders me from going full bird into the show is that the typical, stereotypical plot elements do bog down the show near the end of the season to the point where it kind of crawls to an end. And you're like, oh, I guess that's the end of the fucking season. Okay. But overall, the characters were super enjoyable. Romance aspect, you can clearly tell that there are some that are the fan favorites, and others that you're like, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And for a good part of it, Isugi himself, it's like, I don't get why he would be romantically interested. He's just trying to make bank. Which is a fun take, in my opinion. Overall, I'm going to give Season 1 of Quintessential Quintuplets a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I think that I understand why it was considered, like, a very popular one back in the day. I think now it's kind of bogged down by the fact that it is tropey, and that there are better romantic animes if you care to watch them. She is just going for that box. Alright, we're going to just jump right into Season 2 for Quintessential Quintuplets as well then. Unfortunately for quintessential quintuplets, they switched animation studios to one of my least favorite on the fucking block, Bilberry Animation Studios, who are their biggest thing outside of this is an Azure Lane movie, and fuck, the animation is terrible in this season. It just took a fucking straight nosedive. The only thing that kind of ramped up, and not in a good way, was the pacing. The pacing is just so fucking fast, which doesn't allow you to really bond with the characters. They're really trying to get you to like, hey, you gotta guess which one is going to be with the main character. And it's really kind of hard to give a shit when it's like, I know the characters from season 1, they were great characters, but that was the strongest point about season 1. And now you're kind of throwing it out the window, and it's not great. I know that with this season, at the end of it, there is a movie where they confirm who the pick was, which is interesting because season 2 kind of hints at a major event in the past, which is going to pretty much settle the whole thing. But I know a lot of people got really angry with the pick, so the author kind of went back and made AUs where each one of the girls won, which is really weird because 2 of the characters really have no romantic interest, and they don't even expand upon them at all really in the season, which is weird. It is a really unfortunate season 2 to what I think was a really strong season 1. So when I think people talk about like, hey, quintessential quintuplets is a quintessential rom-com anime, it's like, yeah, season 1 maybe. Season 2 kind of shat the bed pretty hard. And then you get the movie, which I haven't seen because I think season 2 just kind of turned me off from the whole idea entirely. Overall, I'm going to give quintessential quintuplets season 2 a 6. I think you can get through it. You will watch it. You're not going to probably drop it just because it does have some character elements that you'll keep going for. You can see why there was debates, but it's a very flimsy 6. It's bordering on the 6 to 5 range. I did finish it, and the 5s I just didn't. And I think that does count for something. We're ready for question 9, which is another freebie for you guys. I'm curious to see what you have here. Number 9 is a freebie, which is, what is your it's so bad it's good anime pick? Fuck, what is my so bad it's good anime pick? What do we got? We got some answers. Reboot? I have not seen that. 7 Deadly Sins season 1 and 2, even though I genuinely believe 7 Deadly Sins season 1 and 2 are not bad. Some of the moments in season 2 I think are really good. I think that's what saves it for sure. I would say my so bad it's good pick. I can't think off the top of my head right now because it's very rare I watch bad anime. If I had to say right now, I think it would be Quintessential Quintuplets or Rent a Girlfriend. I watched a dumpster fire, guys.
Wait, this is reboot? No, it's not. No, they're just asking. Oh, that is being rebooted.
Oh, okay. Any that will get rebooted. I don't know. All right, one more anime before we hit the bottom 5 and the top 5 chat. So after this one, we'll give you the last question, and then we'll go from there. We'll tally up who wins the 1-year paid subscription to Crunchyroll.
Is that considered an anime?
Oh my god, reboot? Yeah, no, that's an animation, dude. That's not an anime. I know which one you're talking about. That one's a fucking good show. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I saw like a YouTuber talking about it, and I went and watched it. I was like, it's pretty fucking good. Oh well.
Talking about this is an animation. I don't know if this is.
Watch it actually be like peak anime. Like Japan actually went ape shit over this back in the day. Don't worry about it, Wiz. Let's move on. Actually, you know what it is? I'm going to actually choose Berserk. I saw an image on the Google search. The Berserk like movie and the CGI Berserk. They're terrible, but they have some. It's like copium. It's like it's the only thing I'm gonna get a Berserk that's actually animated decently. All right, number 17, the last one before we get in the bottom 5. The Apothecary Diaries. Yes, this was in my top 5 for a long time, but it was a solid year for the top 5 that actually made it. Mao Mao, an apothecary's daughter, has been plucked from her peaceful life and sold to the lowest echelons of the imperial court. Now merely a maid, Mao Mao settles in her new mundane life and hides her extensive knowledge of medicine in order to avoid any unwanted attention. Not long after Mao Mao's arrival, the Emperor's infant child inexplicably begins to experience grave symptoms, almost as if a curse has been cast. The curious Mao Mao easily solves the mystery and, to remain out of the limelight, attempts to have an anonymous tip, or leave an anonymous tip. Unfortunately, the dashing and perceptive eunuch Jinshi sees right through it and manages to single her out. Yeah, they're simping over Jinshi in the fucking description. In recognition of her talent, Mao Mao is promoted to a lady-in-waiting for the Emperor's favorite concubine. As Mao Mao continues to remedy the numerous ailments afflicting the Imperial Court, her pharmaceutical expertise quickly proves indispensable. This one is produced by OLM and Toho Animations. We have seen other animes come from them on this list alone. Apothecary Diaries is a fantastic show. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It is fucking great. It has some of the strongest elements I've seen in like a mystery anime that I would never expect it from this. And going into it, I didn't expect it to be a mystery anime where they're trying to solve mysteries on each episode, it seems, with grand overarching plots. And it is I think it does have romance undertones, and I know it's from like a light novel from China, I want to say. And
I think it's from Japan, but it's like based in Imperial China.
It's based in Imperial China, but I don't know if it's coming from Japan. It might be Korea. I don't know. Overall, like, the animation, by the way, is goddamn beautiful. It very rarely misses, if at all. It is insane how good some of the animation is in this fucking show. And the voice actors, the characters, they're all good. I think the thing that unfortunately holds it back is that at points, the episode-to-episode nature, some of them just don't hit as hard as they could. Where it's like, hey, one mystery is who fucking killed the Emperor's baby back in the day, and it's a 3-episode arc. The next episode arc is, why does this plant make people sick? And it's stuff like that. I think Mao Mao is one of my favorite characters I have met throughout the year. She is fucking amazing, and her overall disinterest in the things going around her is kind of aggravating at points for the anime, but it's done so well with her character that it completely slips by the radar for me. I just think that not every episode is a banger, and I think that when you get to the major-ish arcs, they're great. Some of the major plot points coming out of left field, and I'll have to see how Season 2 comes about explaining it, which we did get confirmed. I think it is a triumph, and I understand why this is a lot of people's favorite for the year. I think for me is that I didn't love every episode, so I think I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. I think it is very, very good, and if I was going to recommend an anime for you to start on, this would probably be one of the ones I would recommend because it is just a solid one to start with. Alright, chat, this is your last trivia question of the evening. Just a reminder, whoever gets the most answers correct does get a 1-year paid subscription to Crunchyroll where you can weeb out as much as you want. With a $70 price tag on that, Mononoke is on the desk and looking for trouble.
Hi.
So, which of these studios is my favorite? Is it Studio OLM, who partially helped with Apothecary Diaries, among others? Is it Toei, Dragon Ball Z, and One Piece? Is it Studio Madhouse? Or is it Studio Mappa? But all 4 of these are big names in the space, chat. I highly recommend that what you do is that you Google the studio and just kind of look through the animes and see what they got cooking, and then make your guess. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and move into the bottom 5, the worst that I watched this year. It's definitely going to piss quite a few people off, ain't it? Alright, let's just get the top one out of the way. This is another one of the classics that I was told to go back and watch. And I straight up don't see how the fuck this was a classic. I did not like this one. And I just didn't get it at all. And that is The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Kyon has found himself dragged through many adventures as of late, all because of the SOS Brigade Club and its excitable leader, Haruhi Suzumiya. He stopped believing in the supernatural long ago, but after being forced to join this club based solely on that, he has seen things that he could not be explained logically. Joining Kyon on his various misadventures is the shy and soft-spoken Mikuru Ashina, the bookish Yuki Nagato, and the ever-cheerful Itsuki Kuzumi. I'm not getting any of these names, dog. They don't even mention Haruhi in here. This is made by Kyoto Animations, the team behind Violet Evergarden and A Silent Voice. So big fucking beautiful studio working on this. And this is, I think, where they kind of got their start. And the big draw to the show, from what I gathered after fucking trying to get my way through it and slogging my way through it, is that Haruhi is a unique concept where not the main character, but Haruhi Suzumiya herself is kind of a god. Whatever she wants to happen, if she voices it, will happen. She is an eldritch anomaly on the time-space continuum. She wants to meet aliens. Guess what? She's just gonna meet an alien in the form of one of her classmates. She wants to meet a cyborg. She'll meet a fucking cyborg. She wants... The idea is a lot of the club is trying to say, hey, main character, you need a real Haruhi in, because if she wants to fucking destroy the world because she's having a temper tantrum, she fucking can. And it's an interesting thing because the most I've seen positive out of the show, outside of It's a Classic, is that it's a unique concept that memes are born of how she power scales to like Goku and shit. Which, for my 2 cents, yeah, if she can imagine, fuck Goku, I want him dead, and it happens, she wins against Goku. I do like that concept of Haruhi where it's a god amongst the normal people who has no idea she is a god. However, that's as far as really I can say my compliments go. Every episode to me was fucking boring as shit. I slogged my way through it, and by the end, I had no idea why people were so happy with this anime. It has no really emotionally charged elements. It doesn't really try to deliver emotionally charged elements. Haruhi is really hard to get along with. She's kind of a fucking bitch 99% of the series, and by the end, you're just kind of supposed to be like, that's Haruhi. And it's like, no. She may be a god, but I don't know, I'm not simping here for that. I like the concept enough that I think I can understand why some people would like it and why you keep intrigued and to keep watching it. But for me, I don't remember a lot of the episodes because it's just so fucking slow and boring. And from what I gathered is that a lot of people say the movie that takes place at the end of the series is what it makes this series so good. Why the fuck would I watch a 24 episode series just to watch a fucking movie? That sounds horrible, and I don't want to do it, and I haven't done it. I think the concept is cool, but everything else is lackluster. I would say the animation is also pretty good and you can tell that Kyoto Animation came around and started working on more beautiful projects like Violet Evergarden. So this is a good start, I suppose. I think, for me, I'm going to give Haruhi Suzumiya, the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, a 5 out of 10. The concept is enough to keep you going, but fuck me. I think I had more interest in Pokemon Horizons. I remember the plot more of that. I remember Nagatoro being a bitch. I really don't remember a lot of this one, and I don't understand how people say this is a goddamn classic. Alright, we have another quote-unquote classic and another quote-unquote hot topic anime. This one is edgy as fuck and considered to be one of the first, like, super fucking bloody animes. God, I don't get it. And that is The Future Diaries, or The Future Diaries, or Mirai Nikki, however you want to fucking pronounce it. It seems like there's a new title every time. Yeah, 5th, right there. Yukiteru Amano is a shy middle schooler who regularly keeps track of what he does in his daily life by writing down all of his activities on his phone, a digital diary. Despite having no friends at school, Yukiteru, the main character, I'm not gonna fucking do it, is frequently seen talking to his supposedly imaginary friends Deus Ex Machina, the god of space and time, and Deus' servant Murmur. One day, Yukiteru MC wakes up and discovers that certain events of his day are preemptively displayed on his cell phone. While initially dismissing it as a coincidence, he slowly realizes that the incidents written on his phone actually take place in the near future. After spending the day benefiting from his new asset, the MC learns that his classmate, Yuno Gasai, possesses a similar diary. As the two team up to defeat an odd pursuer and head back to their respective homes, Deus Ex Machina explains that they, alongside 10 other contestants, have been drawn into a survival game, whose victor will become the deity's successor. With no other options, MC and Yuno must use their cell phones, now called Future Diaries, to survive this unforgiving battle royale, Fortnite. This is made by Studio As Red, which made Shuffle, is apparently their biggest thing. This is probably the edgiest anime I have ever fucking watched. guys, and I have watched some fucking edgy anime in the past, and I'm gonna be real with you, I don't see the appeal of it at all. I get that it was very dark and bloody and explicit for what it was back in the day, but then I think, hey, you know what also was there? You had Samurai Champloo. You had fucking Dragon Ball Z, where Trunks got a fucking hole blown in him. This isn't that special, and it's just done super oddly, and the characters are, at the best, kinda annoying. Most of the time, they're fucking straight up annoying and just giant bitches. It is wild how some of these characters are just so dislikable, and the idea of it being a survival game is like, okay, so we get to meet more fucking nut houses who just continue to be fucking crazier and crazier as we go along. And some of the... What's up? What? Is she sitting in your lap? Oh, good girl. But you think that's really cool because you're going to have like arcs dedicated to each of these people as they get harder and harder. No. Some of the contestants die in an episode when they seem very threatening. Others continue to keep fucking going, which is weird because none of the characters really develop super well and they're not really interesting to continue with. And some of them are like, I don't want to do this shit. I'm going to help anyone who wants to get out of this. But then it's explicitly said many times, you can't do that. 10 enter, 1 leaves. And they just keep saying that. Not to mention, this is also during that weird era where they were trying to blend CG into the animation style, but it looks fucking horrendous. It's not good looking. And to say also about the animation is that it's also not very good. It's not super choppy, but it looks really weird. They go with more darker colors, trying to get that like weird visceral feeling when it's a bright color, but it's all blood and guts and shit. I don't know. I think the big thing about its drawback in the day was just how edgy it was. It was meant for those guys or those people like, no one gets me, society will never get me. And I gotta be with you, if this is your favorite anime, I don't get you. I really don't. It is an older anime that is edgy, and I think it's lost a lot of its appeal. The story's not there. As far as survival game animes, I'm not usually a big fan of it, and this one definitely didn't turn me into the genre. I also would never fucking recommend this one for new anime viewers at all. There's not a lot I would think about coming back to it. I think the biggest thing a lot of people hold on to this one is, what's her fucking name? Gasai being, what is it fucking called? Where they're like obsessive? Yandere. She's like the picturesque of a yandere. So if that's your speed where they're like super obsessed about somebody to the point where they're willing to kill anyone who's interested in them, sure. It's one of those things that you're like, hey, MC, maybe you shouldn't trust the psychopath that you have just said 5 minutes ago is a fucking psychopath. Also, don't piss off the psychopath, but you constantly piss off the psychopath. Every character in this is dumb. The whole premise is not really fun, and it doesn't really go anywhere. I'm going to be real with you. To me, The Future Diary is a solid 4 out of 10. It's bad. It's not good. I don't think it holds up at all. All right, number 3. Coming from Bill Burry Animation Studios, the same guys who did Quintessential Quintuplet Season 2 and the Azure Lane movie, is 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. God, what a fucking title. Rintaro Aoji has it all. Looks, intelligence, athletic skill, and popularity with peers and mentors alike. Unfortunately, none of these qualities help him with his love life. In the day of his middle school graduation, he's once again turned down by a girl he confesses to, earning his 100th rejection in a row. Down on his luck, he goes to a matchmaking shrine and wishes to finally get a girlfriend in high school. When the god of the shrine suddenly appears before him, he is told that he will meet an astronomical total of 100 soulmates in high school. And that's really about it, and the rest of the show is just him meeting them and developing a relationship with them. I think the concept is interesting at its best, I'd say, but it is ruined by how fucking meta they're trying to be. It's meant to be more of a comedic anime, I think, but the jokes straight up just don't fucking land. It's too meta humor for me, where they are very self-aware that they're in a show. They're constantly breaking the fourth wall. The girls are very one-dimensional at best. They're not really well developed, at least as far as this season goes. You don't really get to see a lot beyond tropes and your obvious backstory here and there behind it. The MC is... we have Mary Sue. What is the opposite of a Mary Sue where it's a guy? He's a Mary Sue. He's a Mary Sue. He himself is a very not super interesting main character that I had a really hard time just being like, okay, yeah, whatever. Sure. And I've heard that as you have a cavalcade of 100 characters being introduced, you're going to eventually like one of them. My question is, why the fuck would I wait for a fun character when I can go watch a better show that has good characters from the beginning? Yeah, One Piece. One Piece has 100 characters, and they're all pretty damn good. At the very minimum, like, they may make a couple of appearances, but they all have, like, their own shit going on. That's because it's Goda. He's the fucking GOAT. I would give 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really, Really Love You a 4 out of 10 as well. It's not good. I don't think even the most die-hard romantic anime people are going to find this one to be, like, groundbreaking outside of the fact that you're going to meet 100 characters. That's a solid 4 out of 10 for me, chat. All right. Last 7. We got 2 more of the worst that I saw this year. Anyone have any guesses about the worst one so far?
Do you want to feed the cats, by the way?
What time is it? It's time to feed them?
Yeah.
If you want to go hop and feed them right now. I'm curious to see what chat thinks about which one's the worst. Because we got some big names still up there. And we got some ones that people probably aren't super familiar with.
Okay, we're gonna go get food. Okay?
Hmm. I guess you can't get up.
I'm gonna carry her.
How y'all doing, chat? Anything that's surprising to you?
We're gonna go get food, okay?
I don't think I'm ever gonna watch this much anime again. This was rough. This was the year I tried to catch up on a lot of of the greats, or do the ones that everyone really liked, and God, I had trouble keeping up going. I'm more of a watch a documentary kind of guy, or watch like anime that Wistful recommends. You good girl. Go feed him. Give her some wet food. That'll keep her happy. And it also allows her to stay out there.
We're gonna go get food, okay? Food
I will go ahead and jump into the next one. I will be my own man in the chair, chat. The next one, the second worst anime I have watched this year. I'm learning a lot about anime, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, you're all weebs. You're learning who's the bigger weeb. We have, to the shock of no one, Rent a Girlfriend Season 2. This is a Season 2, so I'm not going to kind of go much further into why I didn't like, how come I like Season 1 versus 2. Where Season 1 is an entertainable dumpster fire, which has the potential, Season 2 throws it out the window. There is no pacing at all. They give you a new character, which is not a fun character to be around, really. And it just is the same plot point over and over and over again with no overall plot progression. There's no stakes. You don't give a shit because the main characters that did have a really kind of interesting character depth to them are kind of put on the sideline in favor of will they, won't they dynamics, which is a very annoying trope. Once again, this is still made by TMS Entertainment, so the animation is still 50-50. It's either really good or it's dog shit, but the plot just fucking nosedives, if at all, and the characters that kept Season 1 alive in my head also nosedives, which is unfortunate. Where it was once an entertaining dumpster fire, it is just a dumpster fire that is now very smelly, and I'm wondering, why the fuck am I watching this? I did not finish Season 2. Let's put it like that. I didn't finish it. I don't think I would go back. I'm not going back to watch it. And it's one thing if I don't do it. It's another thing if your fan base, the people who actually buy the regular releases and watch the show, tell you, hey, it doesn't get much better, which is what they're saying is it's just a very slow plot. Nothing happens for the rest of the fucking next couple of seasons probably, which is unfortunate because it had potential, but it just never paid off. To me, Rent a Girlfriend Season 2, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. It's still got dumpster fire elements. I don't think they released it thinking it was going to be very bad. I just don't think it's good, guys. I don't think they released it knowing that it's going to be a dumpster fire. There we go. Alright. The worst anime that I saw this year, chat, is it's gonna surprise ya. This is going to be Demon Slayer Season 4, the Hashira training arc from UFO Table. A UFO table has made some of the best animation sequences I have ever seen. I still watch season 2's. Is it season 2 technically? The Entertainment District arc's final fight, I think, is peak anime. It's so goddamn good. And then we have Hashira Training Arc. Guys, to start with, for background context, this whole arc, this whole season, is like a chapter in the fucking book. It is slow. Nothing fucking happens. You maybe learn about characters, but they're not fully explored, and they're constantly making up shit as they go, because it's one fucking chapter. Because they said, hey, you know what? We're gonna take this one small thing as an interlude between some of the biggest arcs in the entire goddamn series, but we have to make it this. Because they don't know how to pace their shit at this point, it seems. My brother is a big fan of Demon Slayer, right? What are you looking for?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. My brother is a big fan of Demon Slayer. And we were debating before the season came out if it was going to be a movie, it was just going to be a couple episodes at the tail end of season 3, or at the tail end of what we thought was going to be the next major arc, or the beginning of the major arc. How many episodes, or is it just going to be kind of a condensed little movie, or maybe even like a web series, we thought for sure. And then it got announced, no, this is a fucking full-length season. And we're like, what? There's not a lot that happens between this and the most major arc, which is the, I don't remember what the fuck it's called. The Twisted Castle, I think is what it's called. There's not a lot that happens in between, so how the fuck are you going to crank out that many episodes? And they didn't. At least they did, but they milked that cow dry, guys. It is not a... You can literally skip this whole season and not miss really much. I think what I heard a lot of people did is watch the first episode, watch the last episode, and that's all you need. Because it's one fucking chapter in the manga. And they cranked out like a 12-episode season where each season has an amazing fight sequence in the, like, at the end of it, where the story is there to get you to the next fight sequence and the story is serviceable or good. This one doesn't have that. It doesn't have that payoff for you. It's just boring. Nothing happens, and they should have just kept it as short as it is. And I think with knowing their plans of how they're going to do the next arc, where the Hidden Castle, or whatever the fuck it's called, is movies, several movies in fact, each one covering one of the major fights, makes me a little nervous, because some of these fights are smaller than the others, so they're definitely going to fluff them up. This is a filler season that wasn't marketed as such, and thus it is not very good to watch. I'm going to give Demon Slayer Season 4 Hashira Training Arc a 3 out of 10. I don't think they released this... Actually, you know what? Drop it to a 2 out of 10. Drop it at 2 out of 10. There's no way they released this knowing that we were going to be happy with this. There's just no fucking way, chat. There's no fucking way. Alright, we got the fucking bullshit out of the way, chat. We got the bullshit out of the way. Let's get into the best of the best, right? You can see that we have our 5... Oh, wait, no, I'm pointing the wrong way. The 5 right here. We have Gurren Lagann, we have Licorice Recoil, we have B&A, we have Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, Spice and Wolf, Merchant Me's Wise Wolf. This was a tough top 5 for me. I'm going to be real with you. I think one of them stood above the rest by a large margin, but a lot of them were vying for that top spot, or vying for the next 4 spots for sure. But we're going to start with number 5. One that shocked me with just how fucking good it was. And that's going to be Licorice Recoil. The number of terrorist acts in Japan has never been lower thanks to the effort of a syndicate called Direct Attack. The organization raises orphan girls as killers to carry out assassinations under their Licorice program. Takana Inoue is an exceptional licorice with a strong sense of purpose and a penchant for perfection. Unfortunately, a hostage situation tests her patience, and a resulting act of insubordination leads to her transfer out of DA. Not thrilled about losing the only place she belonged to, she reluctantly arrives at her new base of operation, Lico Rico, a cafe in disguise. Takina's new partner, however, turns out to be quite different from what she imagined. Despite being the famed licorice prodigy, Chisato Nishikigi, God, I'm so sorry, appears almost unconcerned with her duties. She drags Takina along on all kinds of odd jobs under the simple explanation of helping people in need. Takina is even more puzzled when Chisato takes down a group of armed assailants without killing any of them. Feeling like a fish out of water, Takina itches to get reinstated into DA, but Chisato is determined to prove to her that there's more to life than just taking them. This is produced by A1 Pictures, and it looks beautiful, guys. The animation is this soft edge, really nice gradient colors throughout the entirety of it. But the biggest thing that I knew going into it, this was described as John Wick, the anime. Because of the gunplay, because of the movement styles, because of the camera work, and God, it fucking sold me on that. And it was true to God, it is John Wick, the anime, with girls, I guess, if that's your fucking thing. But that's fine, because it is so well done. What I didn't expect was to love the overall plot, and the characters were to be as solid as they are. Chisato is one of my favorite tropes, which is a hidden, crouching dumbass, hidden badass, or something like that, where she is dumb as bricks on the surface, but she is one of the best, if not the best, of the John Wick candidates throughout the entirety of it. And so you're kind of given the idea like, hey, even from the description, you're thinking that your main character is going to be Takina. No, it's both of them. It is both the characters and how they deal with their dynamics. The description makes it sound like Chisato's over her shit. She's not. She has her own baggage that we get to explore that is really well done. And we get to see both the characters grow in their own ways. Where Chisato is really laid back, kind of carefree. We learn that she has to take things a little serious at points, and that some people aren't worth trusting. Where Takina is all serious and no fun, she learns to kind of accept the go of the flow, you know? Overall, it's a really good John Wick like anime. The action scenes, I cannot get over them enough, are well done. Choreography is great, the soundtrack is great, the animation itself is beautiful. I think if you want to look for a shorter kind of condensed, really well-made action anime, this one's a great start. I'm going to give Licorice Recoil a 9 out of 10 for me. This one's solid. I think the thing's just holding it back from being... Well, nope, that's wrong.
I got a pin in my hand.
Put the pin down.
I can't scroll!
Put the pin down. Ah! I think the thing holding it back from being a masterpiece is that at points it seems like they could have developed more. I want to know more about the world. I want to know more about our characters. I want to see them interact with each other more and more. And I think they're trying to do a season 2, so hopefully we'll see that get further expanded upon. At number 4, another one I had no idea I was going to like nearly as much. With a banger soundtrack and made by Studio Trigger, love them or hate them, we got BNA, Brand New Animal. Throughout history, humans have been at odds with beastmen, a species capable of changing shape due to their genetic beast factor. Because of this conflict, beastmen have been forced into hiding. Anima City serves as a safe haven for these oppressed individuals to live free of human interference. During a festival celebrating the town's 10th anniversary, Michiru Kagamori, a human suddenly turned into a tanuki, finds that Anima City is far cry from paradise. After witnessing an explosion in the square, she is confronted by Shiro Ogami, a seemingly indestructible wolf and sworn protector of all beastmen. As they pursue the criminals behind the bombing, the two discover that Michiru is anything but an ordinary beastman and looks to investigate her mysterious past and uncanny abilities. Like I said, this is made by Studio Trigger. In my history with watching Studio Trigger stuff, it's either I really think it's a really great anime, or it's really weird and I can't really wrap my head around it too much. BNA is definitely on the better spectrum of it. I was not expecting it to like it as much. For context, I think I rated this a couple of years ago on Twitch, maybe, is that I watched Beastars because I heard Beastars was really good. And I went on the internet and typed, hey, is Beastars a furry anime? Am I getting into some furry shit? No judgments. Not my forte. And the internet said, nah, it's not for furries. You'll like it. You'll like it. Guys, it's for furries. Like, it's really uncomfortable. And BNA, obviously with more anamorphic animal-human things, I was like, all right, is BNA a furry anime? No. And I was like, internet's lied to me before, but I'll give it a shot. And so I watched it, and there is no romantic undertones at all. It is straight up action, mystery, comedic timing. Characters are great. They're all well written. The soundtrack is so fucking good. The animation is so fucking good. Imagine a darker toned Zootopia with god complexes thrown throughout the entirety of it. Except it's not nearly as cringy as I'm making it out to be. It works out super well. I definitely think that for some people, the concept is going to not appeal to you. I think it's definitely worth a watch. There are some episodes that are, once again, are a little slower than the others, but they all feed into the major plot points and they all feed back into the character's development. Or you do have some gag episodes. There's your famous, you have your always included baseball episode where Michiru is the coach of a baseball team, but she develops powers which we learn kind of imply more to her history as a beastman or human, whatever have you. Overall, I really did not come into BNA thinking I was going to enjoy it as much as it is, and I love the vibes of it. The high energy that Trigger can obviously evoke from some of their animes is captured really well in this one, but it's not too much without any substance. To me, BNA is a 9 out of 10. I think the things holding it back from being a masterpiece in it is that Trigger has made better, in my opinion. And this is a newer entry to them, and I wish that, hey, keep the hype going a little bit more. The ending is a little rushed, but that's just my opinion. BNA is a 9 out of 10. How we doing, chat? Alright. We're at number 3. I will say that 3 and 2 were constantly fighting each other. And 3 is kind of a small heartbreak for me because I wanted to give it a 10, but it dropped to a 9 later because it just keeps going. Not a bad thing. And at number 3 for the third best anime I watched this year is Spice and Wolf, Merchant Mies the Wise Wolf, Season 1. With a cartload of fur pelts in tow, traveling merchant Kraft Lawrence stops by the village of Paslo. According to the local folklore, centuries ago, one of the villagers made a promise with the wolf deity Hollow, who swore to bless Paslo with bountiful harvests of wheat. Yet as time passed, such stories became little more than relics of the past. After finishing his business in the village, Lawrence sets out to his next destination. His journey, however, takes an unexpected turn when he discovers an animal-eared girl sleeping among his pelts. Even more surprising, the youthful-looking woman claims to be Hollow, the wolf of legend. This is made by Studio Passione, who don't really have a lot under their belt. This is also a remake of an older one. It is a one-to-one remake with better animation visuals and a more robust soundtrack. And if I had to describe it in one sentence, it's, hey kids, you want to learn about economics? But it's done super well. It's a really cool concept where they're taking a lot of economic concepts super seriously, but explain it in an entertaining way. And they show you how it's done as well. Lawrence is just out there to get that fucking cheddar. And Hollow, being a god, is like, you know, I'm smart enough to actually earn some cheddar. Let's do this. And they just kind of fucking earn that cheddar. It is a romance anime that is done way more maturely. There is no will they, won't they. There's no, oh, if I don't want to confess to him, I want him to confess to me. They are mutually they mutually like each other. It's just that they understand that their ultimate goals are different from each other, which is why they're not really trying to become romantically involved, is because their goals don't align. Which is a super mature take and realistic in the real world, is that sometimes you'll meet a partner that you both really like each other, but you just don't end up in the same place. I think Hollow is probably my favorite, I don't know how to say it. The way I would say is she's best girl. I think the voice actress for Hollow did a fantastic job with her in this one. It is done so goddamn well. And overall, everyone in the entire series did a great job. I mean, yeah, if you want to grab it. I liked Hollow so much that I bragged to Whistle, I talked to Whistle saying, like, she's just done so well. She's super clever, she is kind of funny at points, you get to see her be vulnerable at points, but it's all meant to be, like, more of a wise scheme that she's pulling, and it's never, like, done maliciously. It's always like, oh, that was fucking cool as shit. It's not an in-your-face romance, it's a slow burn one. In fact, I don't collect these figurines, but oh my gosh, she looks rough. For my birthday, I did get a Hollow Wolf figurine from Sarah, and it looks great. There is points where I think there's more episodes than there should be. That's kind of what I meant by it just kept going, which isn't a bad thing. I liked having more, but there's a very significant point in like the first third, I'd say, where I feel like, okay, this is where it's in season 1. But then it keeps going, and there's not a lot of look back at it. And you get more and more and more of the same, where it's just good, but it's like, hey, I feel like we could have shortened the season by quite a bit and give more quality episodes. This is also another anime that uses a lot of CG. And it starts off being fine, but as time goes on, the crowds become CG and they look really rough, guys. I think the best part overall, I think Hollow does carry this whole thing for me. She has a fuck it, we ball mentality to most problems, which is hilarious in contrast to Lawrence's kind of like very calculated, very like scheming ways. Not maliciously, but he is trying to get that cheddar. And it's just hilarious to see. She's like, nah, fuck it, I'm a god, I can figure this shit out. I think for me, this was a 10 for like the first half, and then it just kept going, and it kind of ended on, I think, a weaker note than it could have earlier in the series. But I'm excited to see more of it because I know they're making a season 2. It's beautifully animated. The soundtrack is very relaxing. I don't know if I would recommend it to newbies, but it's definitely on that line to me. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for me. All right, chat. 2 remain. One of these is the top-rated anime on my anime list of the current time. And the other is considered one of the best classic hype animes of all time. So, chat, both of these are 10s. Both of these are masterpieces in their own right, in my opinion. However, only one entered into my top 10 favorite of all time, and it wasn't at number 10. This bitch went to like rank 5 or 6 with how fucking much I enjoyed it. So, we're gonna just say number 2. We're gonna go over number 2, and we'll just straight up go into number 1. At number 2, the second best anime I watched this year is Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, which means my favorite anime I watched this year, and I think one of the best I've ever seen, is Gurren Lagann. So, Frieren is currently number 1 on my anime list for a goddamn good reason. I'll just read the description because I think it kind of captures why I think it's up there. During their decade-long quest to defeat the Demon King, the members of the hero's party, Himmel himself, the priest Heiter, the dwarf warrior Eisen, and the elven mage Frieren, forge bonds through adventures and battles, creating unforgettable precious moments for most of them. However, the time that Frieren spends with her comrades is equivalent to a mere fraction of her life, which has lasted over 1,000 years. When the party disbands after their victory, Frieren casually returns to her usual routine of collecting spells across the continent, and due to her different sense of time, she seemingly holds no strong feelings toward the experiences she went through. As the years pass, Frieren gradually realizes how her days in the hero's party truly impacted her. Witnessing the deaths of 2 of her former companions, Frieren begins to regret having taken their presence for granted, and she vows to better understand humans and create real, personal connections. This is made by Studio Madhouse, who absolutely cooked on every front of this goddamn anime. I think one of the best things about this is that in most anime, what you get is the main story, like a climactic story, things that change the world of the event. This is one of the few anime where the story takes place afterwards. We're in the echoes of the major event, and rather than kind of say, how did Himmel beat the Demon King? It's like, they beat the Demon King, but Frieren is a cold individual who is determined to develop these personal relationships and understand feelings a lot more, which is a really interesting concept that they explore beautifully. She takes on an apprentice and they eventually meet Eisen's apprentice, who they also join their party as they travel to, I think their goal is to go to Himmel's homeland or something like that. I don't remember what the ultimate goal is. I think the goal is just to continue like kind of exploring and learning more about the people around them. And Frieren herself that's really where her story is just developing these connections with her apprentice, with the people around her. And there is a romantic subplot with her apprentice, Fern, and the Eisen student, who I think his name escapes me at the moment, but he's a really fun character too. And each one of them has a beautifully done personality where they're all fantastic, they're all funny. And for those of you who are like, oh, okay, so it's more of a slow burn, emotional anime. It's not a action-packed one. They have fight scenes, and the fight scenes go so fucking hard, and they didn't need to do that. Like, this is not a shonen anime. This is not a fight-heavy anime, but they do have a lot of beautifully done fight scenes that are shocking to watch how good they did it. It's clear that, like, hey, the main story is this beautifully well-crafted, really sentimental piece. Hey, but we have a fight scene. Fucking, let's ball. Let's just go hard in the paint with it. Let's just fucking, win top fight scene of the goddamn year. Fuck them. We're gonna end up at the top of the anime list anyways. I think this concept of exploring how someone connects with other people. And it's done in a realistic way as well, where some connections aren't super strong. Some of them she just straight up doesn't understand. And as time goes on, she realizes that Himmel was trying to form connections with her all along. And that she just kind of shunted it off, and she regrets it, but doesn't hold it against herself because she's trying to be a better person. It is a beautifully well done anime that I definitely think deserves its spot at number 1 currently on my anime list. It is a masterpiece in every right of its own word. I don't have any nitpicks with it. I just think for me, the vibe that Gurren Lagann gave was so much stronger than what Frieren gave. If you haven't seen Frieren, if you haven't seen any anime, Frieren is a beautiful one to start with. And just know that you're kind of hitting peak. And that it's one of the best. It is a superly emotionally charged one. It's not going to make you go nuts to butts crazy with its action sequences. That, my friends, is for Gurren motherfucking Lagann. Gurren Lagann was made by Gainax, which is the studio behind Neon Genesis Evangelion. Fun fact, you might recognize the art style being more Trigger-esque. And that is because the man who created Studio Trigger, this was the show that gave him the funds and the credibility to do so. This launched one of the biggest names in animating that there is because of how successful this shit is. Let's get to the synopsis so I can just gush, alright? Simone, it's as Simon, it's Simone and Kamina were born and raised in deep underground village hidden from the fabled surface. Kamina is a free-spirited, loose cannon bent on making a name for himself, while Simone is a timid young boy with no real aspirations. One day, while excavating the earth, Simone stumbles upon a mysterious object that turns out to be the ignition key to an ancient artifact of war, which the duo dubs Lagann. Using their new weapon, Simone and Kamina fend off a surprise attack from the surface with the help of Yoko Littner, a hot-blooded redhead wielding a massive gun who wanders the world above. In the aftermath of the battle, the sky is now in plain view, prompting Simone and Kamina to set off on a journey alongside Yoko to explore the wastelands of the surface. Soon they join the fight against the Beastmen, not Brainy and A's Beastmen, humanoid creatures that terrorize the remnants of humanity in powerful robots called gunmen. Although they face some challenges and setbacks, the trio bravely fights these new enemies alongside other survivors to reclaim the surface, while slowly unraveling a galaxy-sized mystery. So, let's start with the big thing. It's a mech anime. But it's the... I love NGE, guys, but this is the best mech anime I've fucking seen. It is hype upon hype upon hype upon hype. This show hypes itself up and delivers and like says, fuck it, I can do more, and hypes itself up further and fucking delivers again. And it just keeps building on that. There are what I would call 2 parts to Gurren Lagann. There is the present and then the future arc. Both of which, I would say, the future arc is a little slow at the beginning, but really enjoyable with more a subtle tone of, like, slowing it down. But you can tell that one of the characters is like, I need to fucking go, I need to fucking go, I need hype, I need hype, I need hype. And it fucking gets to the hype really quickly afterwards of that. But that first part of the series is so goddamn beautifully crafted. Fight scenes are so well done. The music is beautiful. The animation is nuts to butts crazy. And it just works in every aspect. The fights are hilarious as you think they hop in the mech and they're naturally skilled. Fuck no, they suck at it. But because they're so stupid and because they're so imaginative and creative with their attacks, it works out super well. And you just get hype fight after hype fight. Kamina is one of the best anime characters I think I have ever fucking seen. Because not only is he a stupid hype man, he's a hype man who constantly delivers on his own fucking hype. Vegeta is not the hype. Kamina is the fucking hype. I think the best way, without trying to spoil much, there is a grandiose underplot of how this world came to be, which Trigger kind of fucks up a lot of the time on. And I'm going to say it's Studio Trigger because it eventually became Studio Trigger. Gainax does their thing and they do it well. This one does it extremely well. The world is really intricately crafted. The reasons for things existing are explored and we get them explained to us. And then we get the future arc. The major climax happens in the middle of the series. Everything changes from there. And then we see the after effects of it, which is a weird feeling, and like it invokes nostalgia in you, which is wild because you're watching an anime and you probably just watched the last 3 episodes back to back to back because you're waiting for more hype. And then you get to probably the most insane ending I have ever fucking seen in an anime in a good way. I think the way I have sold it to others is they will literally throw galaxies at each other like they're fucking shurikens, and that's not even the hypest fucking moment of the entire series. It is one of those things where hype moments in anime, if they're not done well, I feel can exhaust you really fucking fast. And the show's main theme is to build up hope inside you, and that if you come against a wall, you can overcome it. You just need to think a little harder, or you just need to break right through. Sometimes you know you can do it, you're just holding yourself back. And goddamn, that message is really well delivered in some forms of throughout the entirety of the goddamn show. I think if you are looking for a really cool and a really fun anime, Gurren Lagann is a absolute must to watch. It is one of my favorite anime I have ever seen. And near the end, I was literally in my chair bouncing like a fucking moron, cheering and laughing because of how stupid and hyped shit was. My brother in Christ, they were throwing galaxies at each other. And it actually makes sense in the context of the fucking show. Alright. Oh, go watch Gurren Lagann. Seriously, go watch it. There's a reason Trigger's on this planet, and it's because Gurren Lagann is. Chat, that is the 2024 anime reward show for you. There was some great anime, and I hope that maybe you take a couple of these with you and you watch a couple of these along the way. We do have the results of the competition. Oh, okay. So, just a reminder that if you win this competition, you get a 1-year subscription to What?
Do you want to read them?
Yeah, I'm going to read them.
Okay. They're on the back.
Yeah. Our 1-year subscription to Crunchyroll paid for you. And if you already have one, we'll work out a deal. Maybe you just get another year. I don't fucking know. We'll figure it out. All right. So we'll start with the answers, and then we'll announce the winner. Question 1. What is my favorite Studio Ghibli movie? We had Princess Mononoke is my favorite Ghibli movie. I don't know how many people actually missed that. Did anyone miss that?
Yeah.
Oh, so sad. I have a cat named Mononoke. I thought that would give it away. Question 2. In the past, I've said that Jujutsu Kaisen is blank for normies. I've said it is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for normies. 3 was a freebie. What was an anime that blew you away recently? Number 4 was what is my favorite anime series of all time? That is A, Cowboy Bebop. It transcends anime, dude. It is just so goddamn good. 5, of these anime, which of these have I said is perfect for newbies to anime? It's D, Cowboy Bebop again. Back-to-back Cowboy Bebop. Gotta keep you guys on your toes. 6 was a freebie. What anime do you wish could get a sequel or a new season? I'll let you guys decide. 7, which of these is the worst anime I have ever seen? That is 7 Deadly Sins Season 3, Imperial Wrath of the Gods. I think it is the only one I've ever given a 1 to. Number 8. Which of these have I not seen? And that would be Banana Fish. I am planning on watching Banana Fish. The rest of these I have seen to varying degrees. Silent Voice was a film. I saw all that. Capturing Sins, I got to near the end. And then Kotaro Lives Alone, I did finish. 9 was a freebie with What Is Your So Bad It's Good anime pick. And number 10 was which studio is my favorite? It was Madhouse. Madhouse just delivers on everything every goddamn time. Hellsing Ultimate is enough to keep me up there, guys. That means with 7 out of 10 answers correct, congratulations, Moon Man. You are our winner. You get a 1-year paid subscription to Crunchyroll. I hope you use that wisely. Unfortunately, Gurren Lagann is not on Crunchyroll. That's it, guys. That is our 2024 anime tier list in a nutshell. I don't think I'm going to watch this much anime again this next year, but we'll see. I also want to say thank you guys so much for sticking around for 2024. We tried to stream a little bit more. We tried changing a lot of things up. We're trying to be more regular. We're trying to put more production into shit. This is probably the last stream for the year. I'm going to be taking a break with family throughout Christmas and New Year's. But I will see you guys in the new year where we'll hop back in and we'll be doing more Sea of Stars and other shenanigans. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a great Christmas, a great holiday season, and a great New Year's. It's been great. See you guys.